Hi, my name is Theodore Cottingham in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and I invite you today to discover a new you, a you that you never knew you had, a you that you may have never accessed. You may have never even been told about a you that you had, that was you, in you, a repository of information, a database of all things lovely, of all things since the beginning of time, before time. Do you have the universe within you? Does every person have the universe that all of us are in within them? Are we in fact an interconnected web of a quantum field in ways and energy arrangements that we haven't known of? So what's really inside of you? I support the idea that you have a magnanimous potential, a splendid beauty. I believe you have rapport with that which created the universe, or that which created you. Or did you create you? Or are you willing to learn that you did? Or how the universe is put together, and how you are not limited to public opinion, or the conditioning that you've received since birth, or the religion that you have adopted or been immersed in, or thought would serve you and hold your hand through death. I invite you to discover a new God. Is the old one you've been serving you? Is it doing a good job? Has it met your needs? Given you information? Been adequate? Met your expectations? What do you hold for God? What is your bar to judge the performance of God? Or do you just feel left out of the equation and powerless? Que sera, sera. God's going to do what He's going to do. What if you find out God's a she, or a he, she, it? Or what if you find out God, that whatever you've called it, is in fact a race that you used to be a member of? If you roamed the heavens in the past, if you weren't subject to time, space, and gravity, wouldn't you want to know it? Wouldn't you want to discover your ability to come back into it? Wouldn't you like to know how to be birthed out of this suit, launched, created anew, a new creation as a new creation of that you were before you fell into your own creation of you, with all of this thinking apparatus and all of these things which see a 3D world but limit us to a 3D world? When we saw with the entire spectrum of light, an energy spectrum manifold times greater than our ability to see now and hear? What are you willing to learn that's inside you? I have experienced a learning system over a period of years. In one sense, I could say that I stumbled into simply because I was questing to know God. And I sought God the only way that I knew how. For years, it was an hour a day. Lots of Bible study devoted to the church, Orthodox Christianity. That's how I came up. And I have many, many experiences. Many of them I think you might find really interesting that I may share as time goes along. For I feel that I'm going to continue to make these little video recordings and put them on YouTube. Because I'm sharing my heart. What's the passion of my heart? Since it's come alive with new information that came from within, that at the time the information began to come to me, I thought it was all external. God was God, I was me, I was separate. God created me. I'm seeking God. I surrender, God speaks to me. A paradigm of what I was given. But this information source, this stream of information that I experienced over a period of years, began to teach me its source. It began to teach me how it originated, how we originated. It began to, if you will, use my frame of reference to teach me. My frame of reference was an education, high school, college, MBA, doctorate in leadership. My education was also what I learned coming up in what's commonly called a Christian home. My mom and dad were great. They were lovely people, and they loved my sister and me. We had love in our family, and they were gentle, kind. I had the education of the church. It educated me to be and think and operate my life in a certain way. And to a large degree, I bought into a lot of that. But when this stream of information began to come to me, as I sought God for years, setting my alarm at 2 a.m. and getting up in the morning to spend an hour with God, and many years going to early morning prayer, 6:30 to 7:30 at a nearby chapel. And later years from 8 to noon, 5 days a week. And I would surrender. I would sit. I would listen. Sometimes I would walk and pray. But a lot of times I just sat. But somewhere in that period of time, a thought may come. that I don't know, I thought, so I picked up my pen and started writing. Later on, I had a little portable laptop and I started typing in what I felt like I was being given. And I received thousands of messages over a period of years, thousands. It's not what some people call automatic writing. My hand didn't move itself. My fingers didn't move themselves. It was a process that I had to learn of surrender. And yet, as I surrendered and learned that process taught me. And it became a paradigm of education, a whole system of education that took me out of the box of classical physics, out of the box of organized religion, out of the box of Christianity, out of the box, out of the ironclad thinking that I had formed and surrounded myself with. And through this internal process, I began to be connected with all sorts of information. Various websites, various books, various authors, various teachers, some religious, some otherwise, and movies. There's probably 300 movies mentioned in the words that I received that for years I called simply the first person words of God that I wrote. And in that process of writing, I discovered me. I discovered a whole new world. And I will tell you, I wish it had all been bliss, but a lot of it was agony. Why? Because I began to experience a source of information, which over a period of time, I began to trust and have a confidence in more than what I had been taught. I began to experience a love that I never knew existed. I began to experience a communion with God, the presence of God, the consciousness of God, the feeling of God, the feeling of God's presence, the feeling, experiencing an interchange of communication, of energy, of thought, of formation, forming something new in me. So I invite you to experience the you that recognizes the teacher within, God within, source, universe, Allah, Ralph, June, Alice. Your name for God will not defeat your desire to know the real you. But your ignorance can. If you don't know, you have the source within you of all things. If you don't know, you are the creator of the Creator. You may go through your whole life serving an external God, trying to please God, trying to make it into heaven, trying to escape hell. Where is hell? The only hell is between your ears. Satan. The only Satan that exists is God that denies it is God. And there's only one sin: separation. And there's only one key to returning to the kingdom that is yours within you: surrender. Where there is no humility, where there is no love, leave. Where your only role is to submit and serve others, I suggest and I invite you to be in a place where you flourish, where you learn who you are, how you came to be the creation of you. And you have all of that inside you. Yes, you do. No matter what your education, no matter what your age, as you begin to operate in this world, you're taught. You're taught an operating system. Windows, Linux. I suggest there's an operating system of God. And if you don't like the term God, oh gosh, I'm sorry. But I think that's the term that most people can relate to. Higher power, some intelligence. I suggest to you that we didn't just evolve from nothing, but that which created all things before creation was formed, that Genesis addresses, will teach you so if someone asks you, imagine with me, what does God want? Well, you can look at a number of things that were channeled or prophesied or whatever. I suggest to you that God, what God is, a race of he, she, it beings that we were a part of before we fell and created this and wanted to be in our own creation and set up systems to do so, and basically created the classical physics world. We basically operated in a quantum state, or at least that has the characteristics of understanding how we supersede time, distance, and molecular spin. I suggest to you that all the information that you desire to create you anew and to discover a new you, a new source of power, of energy, of delight, of healing, of compassion, of forgiveness, of being happy with you is inside you. And as you mature in this process of learning who you are, how you originated, what your capability really is, I suggest it is a path to surrendering to be who you really are. And it's an adventure. So I'm starting a school for you to explore you, uncover you, and restore the passion. The passion, the understanding, the healing power to do miracles, to heal yourself, forgive others, forgive everyone. Will you be a Christ that serves you? Will you be a belief system that is static no more? Will you be a belief system that is dynamic because information is being originated in you, through your own tongue, your own pen, your own computer, your own device that's between your ears is no longer limiting you? Will you allow your consciousness to be reformed and walk as Christ, conform to Christ, the consciousness of Christ, the consciousness of one that has a different operating system? The new covenant operating system, where you begin to experience the promise of God that said, I will write my laws on your mind and in your heart. I suggest to you, poor translation, poor choice of word, laws. What I've experienced and what I suggest is that bespeaks of the communion and the communication of what we've called God to teach us that we were not separate, that we are not separate. And we are coming back into that. And the institutions that want to continue to propel, promulgate, and preach messages that separate you from you, that separate you from God, that separate you from your power, so that you will continue to sit there and be listeners and repositories for what they espouse, for what they decide, for what they authorize you to hear and know is coming to an end rather rapidly. The world is changing. And it's time for the regeneration of what? The Christ. The regeneration of the Creator as the Creator, not separate from the Creator. So the fall will be reversed, undone. Will you unfell? Will you unfall? Will you discover a new you that has never been separate. For the Holy Spirit is you. It's your spirit. When you begin to come into the presence of the non-isolated you, you will begin to feel love and learn and know things from an original source. Well, this is why I exist. Well, this is what I'm doing now. Theodore Cottingham, a simple, common guy, living in Eureka Springs at the moment. I say that, where will I live? Next year? I don't know. Later this year? I don't know. I'm not stuck. All the information that I seek is not in a book. I'm creating. I'm a creator. I'm the creator of me. And you are the creator of you. You create your reality, and you bear a responsibility for your own consciousness and your own creation. And I suggest to you that every person faces that fact in this life or when they die. And if you die and you have not regenerated you in the consciousness of Christ, the fullness of the Godhead bodily in you, your two shoes, walking in love and beauty, creativity, practicality, in devotion to what? Devotion to each other. Devotion to what we are, who we are. Well, I'm starting a school, the school of the 21st century Christ. The school of the 21st century Christ. So that all of us on this planet will no longer be waiting for a Messiah to come and do for us while we have sat around and been conquered by the belief system that organized religion has poured into us. I suggest that the exodus from religion will now be beheld. Behold the exodus from religion. I'm not the only one preaching this story that things are about to change. Things are changing. They've already changed. Many people have this notion. Many people have this knowledge. I am sharing what I've been given through my experiences, through all those messages that really form lessons for anyone else to learn from, to help facilitate their own accelerated learning process. So that's why I invite you to discover you. I invite you to the school that Christ the Christ, that crowns the Christ that's you with the knowledge of one. The knowledge of the one. You are the light of the world. So this is my message for you today, my invitation to you today. To begin to see your power and open to your beauty. We are not separate from each other, and we've never been separate from God. Whatever your name for it. I love you and I bless you. I pray that this day the seeds of the words that I have shared, though spoken not that articulately, not that eloquently, but the best that I can share. I pray that they will be seed that you will water and allow to flourish in you. And whether now or later, with me or without me, that you begin to allow you to discover the real you, the unlimited you, the eternal, immortal, infinite you that, in fact, powers you. For you have no power but what that is. How are you using it? Please use it to separate no more. Please use it to think only about money or what you can gain in this life, or be ruled by your ego no more. You are the power of God, the life of God, the presence of God, the essence of God. Using it to be you in separation until you surrender, till you begin to have the knowledge and grow the trees of the tree of life in you. The Garden of Eden is in you. Understand the Bible is a great allegory. It is the great allegory. The revelation of Christ is the revelation of you. Invite me to speak. Invite me to dinner, coffee. Have questions about this school. Write me. My email address is theodoreureka@gmail. My web address is theodorcottingham.com. Come to Eureka. Have questions about the school? Come spend a couple days. So many wonderful bed and breakfast here, wonderful hotels, some beautiful people, lovely people, highly talented, that are a joy to know and be friends with. Come spend a couple days. We'll spend a couple hours together. Are you serious about learning the new you? Are you willing to form it through the word that you surrender to create the new consciousness of you, the Christ consciousness of one? That's the question. I love you and I bless you. I invite you to Eureka Springs. It's a great place. A healing center, healing city. Well, I pray that you feel my love. And I pray that you let you begin to feel your love for you, and that you begin to love you in a new way, and to feel your power, and submit and surrender to love you and love who you are. And to love each other and be the real you. My name is Theodore Cottingham in Eureka Springs for now, starting a school, and I invite you to be a part of the creation of the Most High, for you are the creator of you. Please don't create God in your image anymore. Let you be you and understand the process and the master story. Namaste. Theodore Cottingham saying I love you. Share these words. Come to Eureka. Soon, right away. Contact me. Be the real you.